Hi everyone, and welcome to this very sunny Tuesday morning in the southwest here in the UK, and it's casting some interesting sort of shadows and things in the room, which is kind of funky. Thank you for joining me. And today, well, what are we talking about today? Today I'm going to mention a few things. There are still some tickets left. I think there's only about 5, possibly 4 tickets left for the drum masterclass at Dramatic in Frome, being hosted by Tristan. And I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be great. I've had some people messaging me about it, and that's excellent. Some faces I haven't seen for a while are coming along, and also some people I don't know too, which is fantastic. So as I say, there's about 5, possibly 4 now tickets left. So if you still want to come along and you're thinking about it, stop thinking about it and just book the ticket. It's going to be great. So today, what am I going to do? I've basically on Sunday. Do you remember my Sunday morning drumming rambles? Are people out there? I used to do a thing every Sunday morning when I was teaching, where I'd set the video up and just play whatever came into my mind, whatever mood I was in, and just play that moment, and then just post it, warts and all, mistakes, dropping sticks, hitting sticks, whatever I was doing, or fluffing things. You know, it was like a way for me to, in a year's time, look back, which is almost, well, coming up soon, looking over these things and seeing if I can remember what, you know, and try and see what I was trying to express in those solos and stuff. You know, I don't want to call them solos, they're like performances, I guess, and try and pick through it and find out one elements that I love to play. It's repetition of things that I keep coming back to, so some phrases that I should really sort of be more aware that I'm playing more often, and also to see if I can tap into where I was at that time, and if that was coming through in the playing. So, you know, it's very subjective, it's very personal to me, but a lot of my students enjoyed watching them, and I put them out there and so on and so forth. So the other day I set the camera up and I was working through a few routines, a few things that I like to play, a few things that I'll talk about at the clinic, actually, the masterclass. I'll talk about some of these things. But again, it's just like a performance video where I'm working through a few ideas, letting ideas work one after the other, and then maybe going back to it, maybe never coming back to it, moving on to a newer idea, and just trying to get a very sort of clear and focused mind about what I want to play and how I can make those phrases manifest themselves within the kind of structure of what I'm playing. Now, that isn't what the masterclass necessarily is about. The masterclass is going to be about creativity and ways to kind of kickstart your creativity if you think you're in a bit of a lull. And certainly some of the double hi-hat things I'm doing, which I might as well talk about, you know. I mean, that's this double hi-hat thing that I've been posting on my YouTube shorts this week, and that I'm performing a little bit in this video. And I'll talk about it again at the masterclass. You know, I'm not going to give anything away, no spoilers here. But, you know, just having 2 hats, each side of the drum kit, one by my floor tom, one in my normal hi-hat playing position, and just using them. I guess I was thinking I could use them in a way that I would use a double pedal in my improvising, not necessarily in grooves, though I will be showing you how I groove with it as well, and what I've worked on there as an extension, again, of one idea and how far we can take it, which is going to be only a little section of the masterclass, you know, of how to do that, how one idea can spawn so many others, you know. And we're so keen to get to another YouTube clip or Instagram clip to see another person playing. Oh, well, that, instead of thinking, right, I've got this one idea, why don't I pull as many ideas out of this one idea as I can before I move on to the next phrase or the next lick or the next drum solo? You know, we end up chasing our tail. So as I say, that's going to be a little bit of the masterclass, how we can get into that, you know, and we can do it very easily. We just kind of deny ourselves the chance to do it. But again, I'm not going to give that away. That'll be a little section of the masterclass, you know, so you can wait for that. But yeah, I just thought about playing these hi-hats, and as I say, I can play grooves with them now. So if I wanted to record something, I wouldn't probably, stylistically, I don't think anything would quite fit the grooves that I've got, but I can groove with it. And I could also do some little solos and little fancy things, you know. And actually, I did post a YouTube clip, but I'll just show you what I mean by the sort of more fancy stuff. So check this out. yeah, so that's kind of like, ooh, kind of impressive. A different way of looking at two hats. You know, you might think a remote hat over here, which is just closed, you know, by your floor tom, or over here if you're left-handed, you know. That's a cool thing. I use that with Susie, and that's great. I use that on the Banshees song Face to Face, because Budgie was playing a part when I heard it. I wasn't sure if he dubbed the toms on afterwards or whatever, but I thought I could reproduce this in real time with my hat on the right-hand side, rather than crossing under my right hand to get to the tom-toms, the floor tom on the top tom, back to the snare. If I just open my right hand up and go over to this closed remote hat over here, or X hat, whatever you want to call it, I can just freely, my left can move between the floor tom and the second rack tom back to the snare perfectly easily. You know, so there's very sort of functional ways of doing this. But as I say, for my own creativity, I need to think outside the box a little bit. Think, right, that's conventional, but what about if I had the two stands? And it's weird because your legs come out a little bit like that, rather than hi-hat, bass drum, you know, whatever. You're sort of spread a little bit more, and it's not that uncomfortable. And I can actually use and I don't want to use, you know, an extension hat. Is that the X hat where you have the pedal over here and the cymbals over there? I don't know. Can't remember. Or is that a remote hat? Whatever. I didn't want to use that because the cable and everything, and they're expensive, and two, the cabling, I've heard the cabling isn't always good, it's not as quick. So I just thought, I've got like a DW6000 range hat, which is the old sort of jazz flush-based stands. I've got one of those, a hi-hat version of that. So that can fit between the legs of my floor toms. Bing! Ideas. Wow, I must be a genius. Shoved it over there and it fitted between either two floor toms, fits in there fine, I can still get my leg in there, or if I'm just using the one floor tom, of course it just comes, I take the stick bag off and it can sit right in there. Bring the hats down, so if that's the top of the 14-inch floor, the hats just sit above there so they don't get in the way. Too high, and I found that I was sort of losing my stick between the floor tom and the hat, bottom hat. Yeah, and then I just started using them as a double pedal, and at first I was sort of I was laughing at myself thinking, this is silly. What am I doing this for? It's a bit daft, isn't it? I've not seen anyone do this before, which is one of the reasons why it made me keep doing it. And I thought, well, why am I worried about that? You know, I'm forging forward with my own ideas. That's the point. So let's keep going. And, you know, I've been doing it for a couple of years on and off. Sometimes I've done it before in clinics, not really talked about it, but just had it as a little routine. But I thought, you know, I would bring it to the fore again and start doing more clips with it and talk a little bit about things like that when we get to the masterclass, and we're talking about being creative and pushing ourselves and trying things and looking outside the box and all those kind of things, which I think is really important. Anyway, enough rabbiting. Let's get to the solo so you can see what I'm talking about. I hope you enjoy it. So there you have it. You saw the 2 hi-hat routines, you know, it's kind of a funky little idea that I'm working on. I'm sure more phrases will come from that as we go and it develops. It will move forward, that idea. And the other elements, you know, again, are me trying to play, not trying to play, but playing broken phrases, trying to find melodies within those broken phrases, thinking almost like an orchestra, meaning, you know, this legato, and then we're going to be in time and it's going to move around, and the dynamics will come up, volume will come up, and then it will come down again. Looking at rolls as like a little peaceful piece of the music, and then back into big shape. So I'm constantly sculpting away at the dynamics and the color and the tempo of the piece, and all the structure is something that, as I've always said before, I'm trying to turn what could easily be played on a piano, and you could feel that instantly when people play something like that. Emotionally, you can feel that. I could, that's drama, and is loving, and you know, and running down the piano is exciting. We're running somewhere and coming up and glisses and stuff. It's like, you know, on a tuned instrument, it's ever so easy to do that, but on a drum set, it's not as easy. So I'm thinking like a timpanist, I'm thinking like a horn player, I'm thinking like a woodwind player, I'm thinking like a vocalist, I'm thinking like all that stuff. And trying to be and I'm composing, trying to compose and not decompose, trying to compose at the same time, and all these things are firing off. Very inspired by Keith Jarrett and musicians like that, who can easily, you know, bridge the classical world and the jazz world. You know, they can exist in both, and there's not many that can do that really well. So my little quest is, you know, through being extremely creative and trying to be adventurous and a bit playful and a bit silly at times with the instrument, as well as being, you know, very chin strokey and trying to bring all these elements together. Anyway, who knows if I'm doing it right? Only I can tell, I guess. And if some of you guys are digging it, that's great. And if you're not, that's great too. But anyway, I thought I'd just share that with you because I've done a few little chats about other things lately and not a lot on playing ideas. So I thought it was time for a playing video. So I hope you've enjoyed that. As ever, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing and subscribing and liking, and, you know, hit the ping notification bell, please, so you know when I'm going to be posting more and more and more videos and content and stuff, which I will be doing. As I say, I'm hoping to get into doing interviews with other drummers, other musicians, other sound engineers and technicians and stuff, you know, and producers. That's what I want to get into as well. But it's just finding the time, and also finding time within the session, because sometimes I ask these people if we can do it, but because we're against the clock, it's like, Rob, we haven't got time to do that. We'll have to do that another opportunity to do that another time. So it's a bit of a shame, but you know, I want to get around to all that stuff. And as ever, if you've got any questions, you can always email me or leave some comments below. And as I say, there's only 5 tickets, possibly 4. I need to find out from Tristan today. He did just message me. I saw it come up on my phone, but I'm not going to stop it to restart. But get in contact because the tickets are going fast. You've got 1 more week and then it'll be next Monday. Yeah, we'll be doing it for real at the drum masterclass at Drumatic in Frome. Anyway, it sounds like my neighbour upstairs is running a bath. And it's very noisy, but it's all good. I love my neighbour, he's a cool guy. Anyway, take care guys, be good. Enjoy your drumming, and I hope you enjoy this video, and I shall see you on Friday. See you then. Cheers, bye.